this power of association. What exactly is this power of association that we're talking about tonight?
Thank you so very much, Dr. Janice. Now, I remember, I don't know how many persons on the line are Jamaicans, but just to enlighten you, if you're not Jamaican, and to remind some of us who are Jamaicans that a lot of times we hear proverbs, but we are not really sure where they got their roots from, or we're not really sure what the proverbs mean. So in Jamaica, there is a proverb that says, "Show me your company and I tell you who you are." And there is another one that says, "Birds of a feather flock together." So that's part of the foundation of that speaks to the power of association. Who do you align yourself with? Who are your friends? What, because who they are is going to influence their utterances, and those utterances are going to become part of your thinking process. So it's very, very important that we understand who do you align yourself with. And as somebody's typing in the chat, the persons that you associate with, as someone said, you're the sum total of the 5 persons that you associate with. So quite often, if 5 of your friends are businessmen, you are going to be the 6th one. And if 5 of your friends are losers, watch it. You're probably going to be the next loser. So it goes straight back to the Jamaican proverb, "Show me your company and I tell you who you are." Now remember, it might not be 100% true, but I'm sure it's almost close to 99.
I like that. So Dr. Lilith, can I be associated with someone without being aligned with them? Is there a difference between association and alignment?
I'll tell you, the fireside chat is getting really hot. Well, I had this discussion today with a few colleagues of mine. The words are almost simultaneous, but just reflecting on what I was going to talk about today. So association is basically who is in your sphere, who you drink with, and I mean who you talk to, who you line with, you associate with them. But even though the words are almost synonymous, the word alignment, and I want to talk to some of the ladies tonight. I'm not a car expert, but I spoke to one of my friends today out of Atlanta, and we had a discussion about this. Now, when you have a car, Dr. Jan, you take the car to the mechanic, right? Because what is happening is that the car is wobbling, right? And one of the things that the mechanic will say to you is that your car is out of alignment. What actually happens is that when you take the car to the mechanic stand, they put it on this thing, and they're aligning the wheels so that you get a steady ride. So all the wheels are going to be synchronized so that you don't get this kind of wobbling on the front end or the back end, depending on which one is more out of sign. So what I would want to say is that alignment with people brings us more into synchronization with that person, oftentimes with their dreams and with their values. So it's a deeper level, I would say, of association, right? Because I can just associate with you because I know you, we go to the same school, but that alignment, it has a more deeper meaning than just being associated with.
Absolutely, because I love that analogy of the car, Dr. Lily, because your alignment will determine your destination, whether you get there or not. Because if the car is not properly aligned, more than likely you might be left somewhere along the road when the wheels start to wobble and maybe it eventually fall off. So tell us now, how should one choose their association or their alignment, or the person they're aligned with? What is the best practice, the best way to choose those alignments to ensure that you get to the right destination?
Thank you, Dr. Jan. All right, I usually use this little analogy because I like to be very practical. I always use the math sign. So I always say to persons when I'm speaking about empowerment and association, I always say people come into your lives and they will have 4 impacts. They will either add value to your life. So since they came into your life, you're recognizing. So sometimes we might not always be able to, on the onset, just say, okay, no. We don't have the right chemistry. We don't have the same value systems. You're not going to be someone I'm going to be close to align with. I just don't want it. But I always say people come into your life, they either add value to your life. That's the plus sign. They either take away from your life. It's like everything that you say to them, they say no. they are what some persons in refer to as the dream killers. Like, persons that well, easy, you can't dream biggie. Who you think you are? And we have to be careful about those minus people, because what they do is that they try to judge you by your past. They try to judge you by your upbringing. They try to judge you by what they think they know about you. And a lot of times there are some latent qualities, abilities, skills that need to come alive in individuals, and all they need is somebody to just be able to pull it out of them, to see life in them. And so those are the persons that help to really bring this new this new zest to us. So some people also multiply us. So for example, I might know Lorraine, and she sees something in me, and then she says, no, you know what, you're doing something great, I need to align you with somebody else who's doing something that will even bring you to another level. So all of a sudden, I just had this small project, or I thought I was just doing this, and all of a sudden my small little dream just begins to blossom and blossom and blossom. And then there are the other persons who also divide you. So you just feel like you're just splintering out. So what we want to do is that we want to find people who either are our plus people or are multiplied people. And I would say to all of us on the platform tonight, just look in our circle. Who are the people that we spend most of our time with? Are they people speaking into our dreams? Are they saying to us, let us stay here and die? Remember those 5 men with leprosy that were at the gate? I always find them so remarkable. They were on the outskirts of the city because of their situation. And this is a story, not just a biblical reference, but just a powerful analogy. So you know what? I heard these men reasoning, despite their physical impediment, they were conscious. Their cognitive processes were in good order. They began to reason with themselves and say, listen, if we stay right here, we're going to die. If we go over to the camp of the Assyrians, we will die. But guess what? We might get some food instead of stay here and starve, because there's starvation in the city. And what did all the 5 men? We didn't hear no rebuttal. We didn't hear nobody saying, I'm not going to go. All the 5 men with leprosy, ostracized by society, took themselves up, and they walked over to the city and were enabled by, of course, the power of God. And they went in the city, and the story goes, most of you, that they were in that city, and they were able to call the same people who ostracized them, and they were able to get the possessions of the land. You need people to talk life into your city. And Lorraine, I have a name for those people. I call them my Red Bull friends. And that Red Bull commercial, I don't know if you know Red Bull, it's an energy drink here in Jamaica. I think it's overseas as well. And the tagline for Red Bull says, it gives you wings that you can fly. So I believe you need to find, for positive alignment, positive association, we need to find people that propels us, lift us up, and say, no. You gotta know, just last week, you're gonna turn your no into next, because life is filled with challenges. So when you go somewhere, when you have those kinds of people, and you have failures or you have defeat and so on, they say, you're gonna get up, brush off your feet, because a knockdown is not a knockout. So sometimes things happen, but sometimes you have to go down to get up. A seed has to die before a grade of pea has to die before it can grow. So you have to have those people. Look for your Red Bull friends, those that give you wings that you can fly.
Wow. I hear you, Dr. Lily. The people who add value, the destiny helpers, the destiny pushers, the pluses, the multipliers. Those are the people that you need in your life. So you have to do an assessment, look around you and see if these are the people that you're aligned with. And if not, then you have to do something, because there are actually some negative effects of being misaligned. Correct? Is that what I'm hearing from you, Dr. Lilith?
Definitely. And I want to say, this is why it is so important, Dr. Jan, is that the persons in your group, sometimes they purposefully cannot bring you further than their mind can, because they've never dreamed as well. they've never been exposed to vision. So when you get somebody who said, yes, I've been out into the ocean, I know what the ocean is like, and I'm telling you, you might think you can't swim, you can do it. So that's the kind of thing that you want. And remember, when you align yourself with positive people, it doesn't mean that you're not going to feel uncomfortable, because as they begin to challenge you, they're going to tell you things that you probably wear a size 8, and they're going to tell you, and that's figurative. They're going to tell you, the way I see you moving, a 13 is how you're going to be stepping. But you have some people, they'll reduce it to a 2, because that's how they see you. I shared this example with you, Dr. Jan. I had a person I thought was a friend one time. So I was thinking of applying for a role in an organization, right? So I remember going to my friend to share, my dream. This is somebody I'd encouraged to apply for a role. I pushed her. But then there came this one window of opportunity for me, and I decided to share my dream with my friend. And Dr. Jan, I never forget. It is something I hold very dear to. When I say dear, I think I use it so often to encourage people. My friend said to me, she said, you shouldn't apply because I like you in the current role that you're at. Mark you, the other role was a promotion, more of everything. But as far as she could see, she liked me in my present. I don't want nobody to like me in my present. I want you to see me in my future. Even if you ask me, say, can you have $1 million knowing I don't have it? You're saying to me that when you look at me, you see the possessor of $1 million. Those are the kind of people that say, boy, what faith you have in me. And you begin to strive. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So we need people who fuel us with positive affirmation.
I am loving this. We are in the room and we are talking to Dr. Lilith on the power of association. I love that you said that, because some persons can only see you in the was. They can only see you as you were before. I have had persons say to me a lot of times, oh, you have changed. Did you expect me to be the same person I was 5 years ago? No. I had to grow. I had to leave the place of was so that I could step into the now and on my way to the future. I am loving this. So Dr. Lilith, how does one, because when we think about the vision, how does one correlate your vision to the alignment and the associations? How do we correlate that?
All right. So, for example, so let us say I have a passion or a desire that I want to do something. So I want to swim. So remember, that is what I'm lacking in. So what I'm going to do, I need to fill my gap. So I'm going to definitely find somebody who is going to be my gap filler. All right. So I have to now find somebody who is a competent swimmer who is going to lead me on that path. So I say to people, what are your dreams? What is it that you want to do? And then once you move along that path, you look for persons who have similar passions or will lead you to the multipliers. So maybe they don't have it, but they're the connectors, because that is also very important. The connectors who are going to lead you to the right persons at the right time. It's so important. I know I won't be finished tonight, but I'm just thinking about Ruth as well. Ruth, association. When you associate yourself with people, you must see amidst their adversity. When Naomi was coming back to Bethlehem, she didn't have anything, but it seems as if Ruth saw something in Naomi that was bigger than the disaster which faced her in Moab, so that she did not want to turn back, even though Naomi had encouraged her to do so, because she saw something that was bigger in her. I say to people all the time, always align yourself with people who enlarge you, who see you beyond your current situation, because our current situation should not define us. We should have people who help us to redefine our destiny.
Always have people who redefine our destiny, because sometimes we can't even see it for ourselves. But somebody will come and see it, Dr. Lilith, and pull it out of us. So earlier I thought about it and I said, is this spiritual? And I hear you you connecting the different spiritual experiences, the different experiences from the Bible to what you're talking about. So yes, the association, the alignments, it's spiritual, correct?
Yes, it is. I think it is in Proverbs. It says, walk with the wise and you shall be wise." You see, one of the things is that the Bible is a book of wisdom. Proverbs, the wisest man, Solomon, he says, Proverbs 13, verse 20, he says, "Walk with the wise and you shall be wise." I'm sure we can understand that the converse is true, that you walk with the foolish, then you behave like how the foolish behave. So it's very important that we choose persons who we can see almost, part of how they want us, they want to see us, not just today, but they want to see us in the future. So it's going to be very, very important.
Absolutely. The wise man questions himself. He looks deep inside of himself, but the fool questions others. Mm-hmm. Always seeing imperfections in others. Right. So, Dr. Lily, I know that you have had many experiences in this life, and I hear them coming out of you. Talk to us about maybe one or two experiences that you have had. That was there ever a time that you were adversely affected, or that you came under the rigors of wrong associations or wrong alignments? Was there ever a time, can you speak from your own experience, was there ever a time that you were affected by wrong associations or wrong alignments?
Well, I think that, like you rightfully say, that sometimes when you're within a group of people, I've been within groups, and then as you begin to start to imagine yourself and to see where you are, you begin to, it's not that you disown them, but you know definitely that, you know what, I have to change my company because of where I see myself going. And even the way probably you speak, because sometimes people say, why you have to behave that way? Why you have to? But if you're visioning where you want to go, you have to begin to act the part so that when you get there, you know you have a right to be there. So I've had to kind of separate myself from persons because some of the dreams that I have probably didn't share those dreams. It didn't mean I didn't talk to them, but they could have been, they would not be taking up 90% of my day anymore, because where their focus was, that's not where my focus was. And so throughout my life, I would say that there are different times when I've had to make different choices as I see where, whether it be a career pathing or whether it just be something for a spiritual level, but there were moments when I had to make those choices.
So Dr. Lilith, I'm going back to that question, because someone would say, because you now turn doctor, because you now have 3 degrees, then you believe that you're better off than that person, and so you can just walk out and leave them and believe. How would you address that? Because that has been something that has been far-fetched. Persons believe that because now you have grown and you are no longer in their circle or on their level, then you believe that you should no longer be aligned with them. Can you also be aligned with persons who are, though they're not on the level of your thought process, your education level, and all of those things? Can you still be aligned with them?
All right, so there are different degrees of alignment, right? So for me personally, I will show up somewhere and you'd never know my credentials, because I'm here on a mission to help somebody. So I will find myself in a group of students. And first of all, I always try to make myself relevant, right? Which I think is very important as we speak about empowerment of people. So what I do is that I try to understand the language of the day, the movies, like now I know that Squid Game is the newest thing on the block. And because I try the same thing with my son. I have some young adults that I work with as well. So I make myself relevant, and then I purposefully align myself with youths of the inner city, align in a different way, because I associate in a different way, because I'm helping them to see that they are bigger than their communities, right? I'm saying to them by association that, listen, you're in an inner city now. guess what? I was from the inner city as well. But I did not allow the inner city to tell me that that's where I belong. I wanted to, as I said, redefine my environment. So, I think it requires a lot of humility. It takes a lot sometimes, but that is where I find my greatest passion, when I can interact. So I had to align myself with persons to glean wisdom, and then to come back to be able to share my learnings with other people to help to lift them up to another place. And it was like Jesus. He was the person with the most accolades, but he associated with all types of people so that he was able to become relevant and effect change. So it doesn't matter who you are. At the end of the day is how conscious you are in terms of helping someone by association to become bigger and better in their own dreams.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lily, for that explanation. So it's not you thinking that you're better than them. Sometimes it's going up and then coming back for them to lift them up as well, to bring them to a place where they too can be properly aligned. So I'm going to have to leave another 20 minutes for persons to ask their questions and to make their comments. So I'm going to go for another 10 minutes, Dr. Lily, but tell me, 5 to 10 minutes, tell me, how would you advise persons who want to know, they want to know, what exactly do I need to do? What are some of the first steps I would take? I want to move myself from point A to point B practically. You talked about the inner city a while ago. So this person may be living in the inner city, but they want to find themselves into different associations or alignments. What are some practical ways that you tell them, this is your step one, this is what I would advise you to do. This would be your step two, this is what I would advise you to do. How would you advise those persons? And it may be some of them who might be in wrong associations as well. How do you advise them? Because people want to know what to do, how to.
The first thing we want to do is that we want to look at where we are. Is it value added? Are you growing? How are you feeling? What is your sense of self? What is your worth? Right? So you're going to do that kind of assessment where you are. And then you're going to say to yourself, is this me? Visioning, is this me? 20 years from now, is this where I really want to be? And then you're going to say, what are the steps I need to take if I want to break this cycle where I continue to see myself as a loser? Could it be that I'm associating with people who see themselves as well in that case? And then one of the things that I want to encourage persons to do, which is why the whole matter of mentoring, where we extend ourselves, because knowledge is very, very powerful. When sometimes when persons are, when knowledge is imparted, it's like a light bulb that goes off in somebody's life, in their system, in their mind. Are you telling me that I can do this? I had a guy just the other day, in a student I was relating to, and I'm telling you, I think just thinking about it, it kind of brings tears and it brings smile. And Dr. John, I was talking to this guy. He had an exam, very nonchalant. They didn't come to the exam, come for the prep for the exam. So they came to me and they said that, the guys are over there because, we had to get real into their families, calling up parents, etc., and real personal and getting them there. So the guys came, pants down, everything, cornrows and all of that. So I went over to the guy and I said, when they called him, he said he wasn't coming because he's at a meat shop. And he said, a meat shop are doing thing. So I said to the young man, 10 years from now, tell me where you see yourself. Because you have an exam, you refuse to come because a meat shop, according to him, it's meat shop that is his focus. So I said, tell me, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, short term, long term, where do you see yourself? And he begins to tell me, Miss, I see myself as an engineer, and I said to him, how does describing yourself by saying that a meat shop, your meat shop is what is is important now. How does that align to your goal? And I'm telling you, I am so proud of that young man. Just today, I spoke to him. He did the same exam that he didn't want to come to. Why? Because he felt comfortable in a community where everybody was kneading out their hand middle and, puffing a split. And he felt that, boy, and he said, you know what? Miss, is like when you said that to me, I had like something just flashed before me. And I remember that most of the boys that are usually there, over time, they were no longer there because they had lost their lives. I said, okay, thank you very much. And just today I spoke to him. He did extremely well and has now migrated from one program and is pursuing his degree. So I think it is very important for us to engage people. Let them know. Let me share this with the Dr. Jan. I've always heard the story about an elephant. When you go to the circus, right? Have you ever noticed how an elephant is just held by a small piece of rope? A big elephant is held by a small piece of rope in the circus. And you'd said, but this elephant is so huge, he can shake off that rope at any time. But he won't, because from he was a baby elephant, I guess I don't remember the term for baby elephant, but from he was very small, he was programmed, so to speak, or he was conditioned to stay in that position with the rope on his foot. And so over time, he grew up just knowing that this is where he stays and that the rope controls him, not being conscious enough to know that he's able to shake it off. Share this other analogy before I hand over to you. If you want to be an eagle, if you stay long enough among the chickens, you start to pick. Power of association. An eagle was in a coop for a long time. And when the coop was open, the eagle did not fly out because it had, over time, it had become acclimatized to the conditions and the behavior of the chicken. But one day, talking about revelation brings illumination, one day he looked up and he recognized that there was something flying that he could more identify with in terms of features than he was in the coop. And he looked up, he propelled his arms, and up he went. So sometimes we need to look up at what we really ought to be and make that